I know, like, for the most part, everybody they wanna hear what I got to say. They wanna know about my experience, what it's been like for me for the last 17 years, and you know, what I've been doing ever since I've been home. And I guess at some point, man, we'll get into all of that. But what hasn't been said and what I feel the need to say at this point is that you know, as much as it was a tragedy and everything that happened throughout this last 17 years, there are reasons why it happened. There are those who are fully responsible for the situation getting to the point that it did. And as much as I haven't said anything about that type of stuff up until this point, mostly because I didn't want to come across, and I never want to come across as being bitter and angry. I think, man, that it's necessary for people to know and understand how it got to this point, or how it got to the point of me being convicted for a crime that I didn't commit. I've had a lot of conversations with people over the years about the system, about the politics that govern the system and influence the system. And they like to tell me, or their response to the things that I say is that, you know, that it's the best system in the world. All right, granted, you know, you have your opportunities here in America. You can file an appeal if you're convicted of a crime. You do have a day in court that you can get, but when it gets to the point where the community speaks out, and those who are put in position by the community choose not to hear the voice of the people, I would have to say that there's a serious problem there. And as much as I was the one that was going through it, it was kind of like an outer body experience. It kind of got to a point for me like, this can't be real. In a so-called free society, where you have people who are put in position by the people, right? When the people tell them, listen, you got the wrong guy, that's supposed to mean something. They're not supposed to be able to just overlook that and say, so what? We're going to retry him anyway. We're going to ensure that this person never sees freedom again. That ultimately became my situation. Do I have a story, a testimony about victory, and how God brought me through? Absolutely. And I've told that part. But at the same time, I kind of feel like, you know, that's for a set audience. Those who know and understand what faith is. But to the common man who doesn't deal in faith, the only way that I can address you and those who I believe in this system is by telling you that if nothing else, the system is broke. You know, it's broken. We've gotten to a point where in this so-called free society where it's more convenient to make deals with people than to seek justice. There's no way in the world that the situation that I went through and many others go through can't be avoided. But when faced with the truth, let's say, the Commonwealth just didn't want to hear that. And I really don't know what to say to that. I just don't know what to say to that. I mean, for the 17 years that I was sitting there, every day, day in and day out, man, I knew the truth. I knew that I didn't have anything to do with this situation. And these people fought vigorously to ensure that I never came home. And they're still, to this day, they're mad. They're upset at the fact that I'm home where I'm supposed to be, where I should have never left. That's crazy to me. But, I mean, what can be said about folks who don't care, who just who just operate like they're God. What do you say about people like that? Do you give them a pass? Do you excuse them based on the need to, you know, I don't know, regulate? I don't even know what you say about people like that. I mean, I sat in this courtroom twice. The first time at 19 years old, I sat there, and I had no clue as to what was going on. That was the benefit that they had. And it's not just me. Like, this is what they do on a consistent basis. They play on the ignorance. At the end of it, the second trial that I had, it's crazy because I've been telling the lawyers that the elephant in the room is the fact that I'm a black male from the inner city of Pittsburgh. That's what was on the table. The one lawyer that I had, he said, so you want me to play the race card? and I kind of laughed at him like, are you serious? Like, what is the race card? It's the obvious. It's not me, Terrell Johnson, Howard McCamey that's on trial. It's something, man, that society, or this society, claims that we're so far past. And it came to light at the end of Mr. Broman's closing arguments. He appealed to that very thing, that racism. He says to the jury, he says, as far as the defense counsel, he's from Monroeville. He says, you know, about himself, he says that, you know, I'm from Upper St. Clair. And to the jury, he says, many of you are from, you know, the suburbs. I'm thinking to myself, like, you might as well just come out and call me a nigga and say you know what these niggas do. That's what was, I mean, with people like that in position, with attitudes like that, what are we doing? I mean, who's safe? Because this could have been anybody. This is not just a Terrell thing. This is not just a black thing. Or what, I mean, as much as it became that for me, these are the people that are in position. These are the people that are supposed to be working for us. But in all actuality, from my estimation, they're working against us. That has to be scary. But most don't know. They feel like, you know, all I got to do is pay my taxes, vote, and everything is just fine. Most never really understand the dangers that they're in and day out. Because at any given time, as far as what I've just been through, they can grab you up out of your life, place you in a courtroom, and have you defend your freedom. That's crazy to me. Here it is, a woman by the name of Evelyn McBride. Now, I'm not going to say that I don't know this lady. She's from this community. But because of what it was that she was faced with in her life, she was able to make all type of decisions where my life was concerned. That's scary to me. Because now I live in a situation where at any given time it can happen again. What's to say today or tomorrow, man, these people won't pick me up and say that I did something else. At the point where that happens, I will have to defend my life again. This is the system that we living under. And that's scary to me. I'm not going to pose it like I'm sitting living in fear of what man can do to me. My whole thing is, when do they get held? When will they be held accountable for the wrong that they do? They have so many laws in place at this point that gives them immunity from the things that they do. They never, I mean, you can file a lawsuit, but it will never affect their day-to-day living.